Can you explain why you're uniquely awesome in 18 seconds or less? Because that's about how long you have here to make that critical first impression. So, what's your 18-second story? I'm here to help you figure that out. Hello, and welcome to the live show hijacked by yours truly for a whole new topic that we were not expecting to have this week. But flying by the seat of our pants is how we roll here at Joanna Live headquarters. It is awesome to see some familiar faces back, and it is also awesome to see some new faces. So, what are we talking about this morning? I want to jump into the deep end and show you the video that I saw earlier this week. And I was like, oh my God, the world is changing and we all need to pay attention. And so I am going to give you all the video that I watched. So LinkedIn, as you may have heard, now allows you to put a cover story on your profile, which is in essence a little video intro to the story. And these are the examples. And now I'm just checking because I'm not sure I shared with the video. Yes. Of what they said made a good profile video. So let's look at this first.
Passionate about education and social justice. I have experience in management consulting and operations and ultimately want to find a role in the nonprofit space. Check out my profile to learn more.
Hi there, I'm Leanne, a freelance marketing consultant with extensive experience working on branding strategies and digital campaigns. I'd love to find out how I can help your business with any of its marketing related needs. So please check out my profile and shoot me a message and we can chat about what we can do together.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm passionate about diversity in the workplace, and I like to share my knowledge and thoughts right here on LinkedIn. Every month, I write an article featuring a diversity trend. So check out my profile and follow me so you don't miss any of my updates.
All right. So I was all like, well, those are super interesting ways of talking about you. And those seem super fast. So I got my little stopwatch out. And the average video that they created was actually less than 18 seconds. Here's my other spoiler alert is we, of course, went in to go figure out how to make this happen, what to do, all of those good sort of things. And LinkedIn actually maximizes this at 20 seconds. So you have 20 seconds to tell your story on LinkedIn. And I think if you are new to the Joanna world, you will know that I am all about giving people both visual and verbal recommendations about why you are uniquely awesome and why people should buy the future you in any way that you can. So I think as we talk about the world of professionalism and being a professional in the working world and how to teach people about the future you, this is really critical. But how do you do that in really 20 seconds or less is super stinking hard. And I say this again because I did that this week. So that is what we're going to talk about today in today's show. So if you are new to the show, let me just walk you through what to expect. For those of you that are return guests to the Joanna Shenanigans, we've shifted things a little bit this week just because of the content. So first of all, I'm going to talk through how I thought about how to think about creating your video and some of the questions that I think you should be asking to really maximize the opportunity of both putting yourself out there in a really authentic and real light without it feeling icky and uncomfortable and a little self-promoting, but then also recognizing that while this video is about you, it is not about you at all. It's actually about what perception do you want to leave with other people and how do you want them to react to you that matters. super different perspective on how do you think about your 18-second video, because what was consistent about most of those videos that we just saw from LinkedIn, they were all in essence feature dumping about themselves. They were talking about themselves. They were talking about their passions, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, that's nice for you, but I don't really care. I want to know what's in it for me in a non-jerky, collaborative sort of way. So we're going to talk about that first and some of the questions. And for those of you who have been with me on this journey, you'll be like, I recognize some of these questions because they are universal. So I'm going to share that first. What I'm also going to do is make myself vulnerable and show you the thought process that I went through on myself, because we created 3 different videos. Because the other thing you should learn about me is I'm all like, rules schmools. Who says you can only have one video? So yours truly is actually going to rotate in different videos. I haven't figured out my frequency yet, but I'll tell you, it is not going to stay the same for months and months on end, because what an opportunity to teach somebody new over time and just using the stories functionality to its max. So one video, nothing. Lots of videos, even better. So I'm going to show you how I thought through mine. Then, of course, as we do with every show, I'm going to talk a little bit about the learning guide that we've created specifically for the 18-minute video. This is how we fund all of these activities. We create a little toolkit that you can take home, which has both learnings and activities and ways for us to actually engage with you. Those are $10 a piece. And or if you have decided, oh my God, this is way too hard, I just want Joanna and her team to do this with me, of course, we have other options there. So we're going to talk about that. Then, because this is what I am famous for, be ready, folks. If you would like to be a demonstration collaborator on this call, we're actually going to pluck one of you out of the audience. So if you are already like me, let Kelly know. And she is, you want to wave to Kelly? There you go. She will start compiling a list for me, so I will be asking her first. And speaking of Kelly, as I talk through things, we will be dropping resources in the chat. And for those of you who might be watching this on YouTube after the show, because yes, we post Thursday after we've done the live show, you can get access to all of the resources in the notes below on the video. I am going to talk about the other live shows coming up. And yes, we are doing one of my famous giveaways. For those of you new, we usually give away one 30-minute private session with me at every single show. This is one of the fun reasons to show up. This week, we are going to do something a little bit more collaborative, because we are going to throw everybody who is still on the show, if you make it all the way through, his name into the hat. Kelly is going to pick one out, and that one lucky person will actually get their 18-second video, or 20, however you look at it, created with me, and we're going to take you through the process. Warning shot on volunteering for that if you do not want to have this done, because we're actually going to use this as materials to teach other people. So that's my incentive to make you look awesome. I also want you to look awesome. So we're going to be doing that together. So if you are like, absolutely not, don't want to do this, let Kelly know so she won't put your name in the hat, but we do these giveaways. And then if we have time at the end, we are going to be opening up for FAQ. And just for a heads up on those, we do stop recording when we're on the FAQ session, so you can be all vulnerable and all that good sort of stuff. So let me jump in the deep end on what we are talking about. First of all, and of course, I need to get over to my guys. First of all, I gave you a little bit of a heads up just now about how it's about you, but it's not about you. And let's anchor in the very first idea that I'm always talking about when I'm talking about this concept of the future you. And that when somebody is hiring you, promoting you, giving you the opportunity, bringing you onto a team, they're bringing you in for one of 3 reasons: your skills, how good you are at what it is you do, and your reputation there and what you've done, your behaviors, so who you are and how you show up and what kind of a collaborating, influencing person that you are. And then 3, your potential. Here's the thing about those things. They are made up of all of these things in your past are what you've done and what you've accomplished, which shows up on your resume, which if you're working for a company, is all of your results. When I was talking to a bunch of hiring managers about this idea, when they were talking about skills, behaviors, and potential, they gave 4% of the decision making was against skills, 31% was based on behaviors, and the rest was on potential. And here's the funny thing about potential. Your potential is somebody else's perception of you. If you've not been to one of my shows before, you haven't heard me say the delightful expression of every decision made about you and your opportunities is made in a room that you're not in. The thing that they are choosing you for, that decision in the room, is their perception of your potential. It's their perception of the future you. And so I sit here and I say, if that's the case, then we should all make sure that we can talk about what our potential is and talk about it in a way that people understand so that they can recognize and remember the promise of the future you. Because that is the product that you are offering up as an employee on a subscription model for an employer to buy. Yeah, you are renting your time, your ideas, and your ability to collaborate to somebody in the future. That is the product of the future you. And I share that idea because that is one of the core elements that I want you to start with, because that product in the future is the thing that I want you to start talking about. Because right now, nobody does. We make them guess. We make them go, whoa, what could it be? I want to take that conversation out of the room or out of somebody's head and make it a transparent and connected conversation so people can understand how you can provide value in the future, because that is how you are hired, you are promoted, how all of the magic happens. And here's the super awesome part of this is if you own your potential and if you own who it is you are going to be in the future, guess what? You get to determine what product you want to sell to people. You get to determine what kind of people that you want to sell yourself to. You actually get to have agency over your future. And there's not a person I've talked to who hasn't said, I want to do work that matters, and I want to do work that I find interesting and allows me to grow and all of those things. And when you start taking agency over the future, as opposed to letting somebody else choose that, that's when both your work starts to matter and you get to be excited and curious about what you do. So this is why when I talk about all of these ideas, this idea of owning your own future, owning your potential, actually unlocks the kind of work that we are all striving for and we are all looking for. So how do you start doing all of that? Well, step one, well, I've just talked about it all being about them and decisions they're making in a room that you're not in. I need you all to get a little selfish to begin with. And what I would like you to do is start with your ambition, because this is where it all starts. What it is you want and where you are trying to go is a critical piece of information for people to understand. Example, when the fairy godmother and Cinderella got to meet for the very first time, Cinderella said, I want to go to a ball and dance potentially with a prince, he being the job in this scenario. She did not say, I want to go to a basketball game. Because if she'd said, I want to go to a basketball game, the fairy godmother would have said, boop, 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 different outfit. It would have not been big sparkly ball gown. And I guess the shoe would have been a slightly different thing. It is critically important for you to get clear about what you're ambitious for. And I know a lot of people answer this with, well, I want to do work that matters, or I want a certain title. Title is just a measure, just something for you to think about. And I want to do work that matters is still too vague. Like if one of your friends came up to you and said, well, I'm ambitious to do work that matters, or I'm ambitious to grow. Could you explain that to somebody else? Probably not. So get specific and get selfish. If you are stuck on this question, go ask other people how they're ambitious for you. A, it's an awesome exercise in a little self-esteem building. And B, you will be genuinely surprised by some of the ideas and answers you might hear from people. Now, I say that with a teeny tiny caveat. The only people I don't want you asking are your BFFs and your family. I, like many of you guys, have an awesome mom, and her ambitions for me, not the same as mine. And my dad, the other day, when we were talking about ambition, told me that I should quit everything and move to Hawaii and live on as little money as possible, because wasn't I done playing the working game? And I was like, absolutely not. So he and I are a little out of sync. This is what happens with best friends and family, is they have their own ambitions for you that aren't colored in the workplace. So go find people who know you professionally to give you some idea about how they are ambitious for you if you do not have clarity around your own. Okay, second question is, who do you want to buy the future you? This is a really key question. We actually had somebody on the show the other day who said, when we were doing a Q&A, she said, I want to be the CFO at my organization, except my management team tells me that I need to be a deal maker. And I was like, well, are you being a deal maker? And she said, well, no, because I got a lot of other stuff to do and I don't have time to make the deals. And I was like, your buying customer has told you exactly what it is they want to buy from you to have what you are ambitious for, in her case, the CFO title. And I said, so you get to make a choice. You can either find a different opportunity with the right ambition that wants to buy you for your ability to run the business because they do not need a deal maker CFO, or you figure out how to transition some of the work off of your plate to give you time to be a deal maker CFO. Understanding who is going to buy the future you and what they ultimately care about is how you can match up who you want to be, that ambition question we talked about earlier, with what they want. And if you think about every time that you've been in a job where you're either bored or you're scared or you're stuck, it's because there's a misalignment between who you are and what it is you want to do and what it is in essence you want to, like, what is the subscription that you want to sell to your employers and what they are buying from you. And when you start to shift that and get how you matter and how you're excited and curious and all of those things are aligned, and there's alignment on the product, then you can start thinking about this. So how does this apply to this LinkedIn thing? So as you are on your LinkedIn, you do not need to appeal to the, 15 million LinkedIn users. You need to figure out who are the users on LinkedIn that you really care about. If you've got a job today, I'm guessing coworkers and your boss would be a really good example. Even business partners and customers would be other good people. But if I was thinking about who is it I want to buy the future me within the LinkedIn profile, those are two really big categories. If you're looking for another opportunity because you're stuck in your current role or you don't have a role at the moment, then obviously recruiters would be a big one, because recruiters are big users on LinkedIn. Also, other hiring managers. And so think about, you've got your, I don't even know what the LinkedIn total user amount is. You've got all of those. If you're just talking to either a recruiter or a hiring manager, how would you open up the conversation differently versus if you were talking to customers or vendors? So think about your audience and who is it you need to engage with you, because you do not need to engage with everybody. Then the last question is, what is it you want to be known for? You have, well, according to LinkedIn, you have 20 seconds, but I think you've actually got 18 because you want to have a little bit of a buffer in there, which means that there is one idea that you can share per video. Now, you'll notice I said per video because I think you can create more than one and swap them out, as I said earlier. But you've got time for one idea. So you can't tell them everything. It's just impossible. And so what is the one thing that you want them to remember after they've watched your video? Now, this is a universal idea. Every time you are engaging with somebody, every time you're having a conversation, you are teaching them about the future you. And so I think this, what do you want to be known for? Like, what is it you want people to remember after they have engaged with you, is, again, a universal question that you should be thinking about, But within the, how do I think about what should I say in the 18 seconds? What is that? Here's the other thing about what it is you are known for. It needs to be unique to you. Because if you say, oh, well, what I want to be known for is being a really great problem solver, or really good at getting things done, or a really strategic thinker, or I'm a really creative person. I hate to break the news to you, but absolutely every single person on this call believes that about them. These are universal categories. And I'll tell you, when I survey people about what it is they are known for, number one answer is I am really good at getting shit done. Number two answer is I'm really good at connecting people. And number three answer is I'm a really strategic thinker. So do not talk about these three because they are not memorable. They are not memorable. Think about, I'm going to use my pants and shoes analogy. If you go to the store to buy a pair of black pants, let's say we're going to go to Macy's as an example. I'm pretty confident that there are probably 200 to 300 different styles and cuts and fabrications around a pair of black pants. Now let's go back to Macy's and say, I want to buy a pair of red suede shoes. My guess is there will be only one. You want to be red suede shoes. You do not want to be black pants, because if you have to be black pants, well, then everybody's going to compare all of the black pants. And yes, there's usually only one pair that fits, but that's a whole different conversation for another day. Okay, so then how do you architect your story? How do you take the 18 seconds? You've now got, who am I talking to? What is my singular idea? And this is the Joanna formula whenever I'm talking about teaching somebody about the future you. Step one, how do you ask a question? How do you share an idea? How do you surprise somebody a little bit? Because you've got probably 3 seconds to get their attention. How do you create a little bit of intrigue at the beginning? This is one thing that people didn't do so much in the individual videos. They started talking about themselves and what they did and why their experience is. I'm like, pshaw, we would not talk about, Apple does not talk about the features of the iPhone. It talks about all of the cool grooviness when it's selling that product. Same thing for human beings. So then step two, help them make the connection. How is your idea or concept actually going to connect to why they should care? This is why audience is such an important question. Now, do you have to say, well, you should care because? If it works for you, yes. I'm about to show you my video where I don't actually say that, but it sets up that idea of why should I care about your idea, your question, whatever your surprise was, and connect them through to what I call your teach or your challenge. Because if you think about why people choose you, it's because how you think in the future. So give them an example of how you think in the future. Give them an example of a concept. And then last but not least, make it easy. This is the one thing that all of the LinkedIn videos did absolutely beautifully. And I have to say that I was like, oh, I need to do that for myself, is what is your call to action at the end? This is the last question that you should think about, is what do you want them to do once they've watched the video? If you don't close for something, they're not going to do anything. So do you want them to follow you? Do you want them to hire you? Do you want them to send you a message? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to connect with you? This will all be determined on what is your call to action based on the questions that you've asked up front. So critically important for those. So these are the 4 steps that I always go through when you're thinking about, like, how do I architect the 18 seconds? Okay, so let me stop sharing here. So that is how I thought about how to create the 18-second video, how to think about how to architect it. And as I said, I wanted to show you what we came up with as an example of one of the videos. And hopefully I will show a real example of where it happens. So let me just share this. We have a video and I'm hit play. Can you explain why you're uniquely awesome in 18 seconds or less? Because that's about how long you have here to make that critical first impression. So what's your 18-second story? I'm here to help you figure that out. All right, super simple, super fast. Now I am going to do, oops, it's still playing. I gotta stop it. There we go. I will tell you all for free that took a day of not editing on the video or the videotaping. That part was super easy. The hard part was figuring out how to get it under 20 seconds. And if you'll notice, that video was right on 20 seconds. We had to do quite a bit of like tweaking to get it down. So as you can see, and I'm sharing the working document that Kelly and I used to help figure out like what was the version. We went in and we've got the first one, which is every decision made about you and your opportunities is made in a room that you're not in. And what are they talking about? We wordsmithed that various times. You can see the second version, which we didn't do, which is why do people choose you? 4% of what you've done, et cetera, because, and you can see in my yellow highlight, we couldn't figure out how to make the call to action work on this one. And then obviously you've seen the 18-second story, but we have a working document down here.
Joanna,
Oops.
this is Sue Bonnell. We're looking at your desktop, not at what you're talking about.
That is not good. Let me try again. Thank you for the heads up. Here we go. Can you see the document?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to go back up here. So you can see we actually created 3 versions. I'm not going to repeat everything, but we created 3 versions because we were playing with different formats in text. Here's my tip on how to make it work though, because what you write and what you say are 2 different things. And so I spent an inordinate amount of time with the stopwatch function on my phone, timing myself and actually saying it out loud. Because you also don't want somebody to hear every decision made about you and your opportunities is made in a room that you're not in. What are they talking about? They're talking about the future you. Do you know what they're saying? I think you should follow me to learn how. Oh, I don't know how fast that was, but it was pretty fast. You want to give your time for pausing and inflection and actually sounding like a real human being at the end of the day, right? So make sure you're timing and actually read it because the written word and the reading word sound different. So yes, absolutely have Grammarly on to help you with different words and different phrasing, but remember you have to be able to say this out loud. We also had a running list of sentences, language, questions, really started at the beginning with just kind of a big mind map of all of the interesting things I am known for saying. And which ones did we think were most important? And this is where I come back again to, you don't have to just do one video, you can do several over time. If you want to get super technical, for those of you who are like, how did you do that nice graphic at the beginning? I use a tool called Storyblocks, which allows you to create graphics and pull in your video. And we actually recorded the whole thing here on Zoom, just using a Zoom room. And it allowed me to actually record the whole thing. So, because I am personally not a fan of recording directly to your phone, because I like to zhuzh my backgrounds. And if you actually saw what was behind me, you'd be horrified because you want to make sure you have the money shot on your face. So this was a working document. Now, I will absolutely tell you that I am super clear about my ambition. I am super clear about my audience, and I am super clear about what I am known for. So this took us 24 hours to turn this around. Do not beat yourself up if it takes you a little bit more than 24 hours. This is why we are huge, huge, huge fans of going out and having conversations with other people and doing some market research on yourself on what are you known for? How are people ambitious for you? What is your potential? What are people saying in rooms that you're not in? So that you can have other people give you the language that you need to tell your story. Because remember, it's actually about the perception of you that you need to focus on rather than what you want to focus on, which is often a really hard thing to do. So something to think about as you go through. So what does, and I'm going to turn this off. What does the learning guide include? I talked a little bit about it earlier, but everything we just covered around some of the questions and how to ask things and how to take steps, like literally like do this step, that can take you through how to think about how to create your script for your 18-minute video. It's super simple. There are some challenges in there, and there's some ways that we love you to actually show your work, and then we come in and applaud you along the way. So a really simple way of doing a self-service version of this. If you are interested in doing this in a private session with me, we don't have the materials of what this would look like as a product yet, because we literally pulled all of this off in like 48 hours. But we've got some pretty good ideas. Just drop us a note at hello@theamplify.lab with your name and a link to your LinkedIn profile and what you're hoping from this. And we'll reach back out to you with how we can help you and what it's going to cost and all of those sorts of things. So that's certainly out there as an opportunity. But now let me show versus tell, because you know I always love to do that as a demonstration. So Kelly, do we have somebody who's decided to get brave and volunteer this morning?
Nobody's volunteered.
Nobody.
Surprisingly. I know, it's a really good. Oh, I see a hand.
So Yvonne, I feel like that's cheating a tiny bit, because I know we've done some one-on-one work, but is anybody who hasn't had a Joanna transformation who's game for it?
Look, Nicole's raising her hand.
Nicole, if we're gonna do that. You know what we're gonna do, and Yvonne, because she put her hand up. And only because I'm seeing a lot of lady people friends on here. Ladies, how many of you now think, oh my God, Yvonne is so brave, she put her hand up? Right. So Yvonne just taught you all about who she is and what she's all about because she put her hand up. Now, she didn't know if everyone was going to put her hand up, if the only person was going to put her hand up. When you are on calls like this, and yes, I'm going to get a little ranty for a second, if you do not put your hand up, people cannot choose you. And if they cannot choose you, you will never get the opportunity. The fairy godmother's job with Cinderella was not just to get her to the ballroom, because if she'd showed up at the front gate of that palace wearing a saddle outfit and no fly ride, they would have not even let her onto the property, let alone get all the way to the ballroom to the dance with the prince. Part of her job was to give Cinderella the confidence to make that really big entrance, to go, ta-da, look at me, I am available for boogies. Same thing here. So I want you, please, to stop being nervous that you are going to look like a fool, because you will not. And be like Yvonne and teach other people that you are brave and you are curious and you can put yourself out there and put your hand up. And Nicole, you do get kind of brownie points as well for eventually doing this. But seriously, like Cinderella went down the big staircase and was like, woohoo, look at me. She did not sneak in the side door. Okay. FYI, for those of you who have not been around and are like, what is Joanna's coaching like? This is a lot like it, because I will call out and give you a big swift kick in the butt when you are being less awesome than you can be. Because here's the thing, I am ambitious for all of you guys, all of you. I want all of your dreams to come true. I want all of it. And I can't do that unless you stick your hand up. Okay, Yvonne, let's talk about you. Oh, you want to unmute yourself?
Sure.
I'm gonna pretend I know nothing. Although I do know stuff. Yvonne is fantastic, by the way. I'm going to pretend I know nothing for the sake of the audience, because they're going to need to hear and see this along the way. So I'm going to try not to cheat. So let's start with question one. What are you ambitious for?
I want to become a partner at a tier 1 VC firm. That's my ambition.
Yep. Okay. And who is your audience? Who needs to say yes to the future you?
I think it's less the recruiting managers. I think it's the current partners, the current GPs of such firms.
Okay, so so current GPs of firms.
Of these
and
VC
what
firms.
is it you are known for? What do you want to be known for with these people?
That's the half digested, half transformed Yvonne now speaking.
Yes, I want to hear that one.
Because we started the transformation, but it's not like settled yet.
It's okay.
I want to be known for being the kind person who can pull off the very competitive deals with my unique personality, which is a mix of kindness, smartness, and technical knowledge.
Okay. Okay. I'm cheating a tiny bit because I have actually gotten to know. So here's, oh, I've got 2 videos in my head already for you, because there's one video that talks about that intersection of kindness, your technical expertise, and I'm not going to say smartness, because all of these people on this call think they're smart. My 4-month-old puppy thinks she's smart. I want you to, like, I think there's a different word in there. I'm going to say possibility, like that you recognize possibility. Because when I think about the product that you're trying to say, that's a little closer. So there's a video that talks about that, where you can say, like, the competition for what's interesting about the venture world is competition isn't just about the companies looking for money. It's about the venture capitalists looking for the right opportunity. And that competitive strategy, I think, needs a combination of technical chops, an eye for recognizing possibility, fueled by kindness, because kindness is the 21st century superpower. Yeah, I don't like that, but kindness is something. Kindness is the new competitive differentiator. That's better, right? So if you're interested in a new partner in your VC firm and believe that kindness could be the competition, then reach out and connect with me. I don't know how long I just went, but I think that was relatively tight, right? Close-ish to 20 seconds. With a little editing, you could go down. Now, if you needed even a shorter one, you could do a point of view video as opposed to anything else. In the venture capital market, I believe that kindness could be the new competitive edge. Yeah, and I think you could just say kindness could be the new competitive edge. Add technical prowess, and you've got a killer combination. If you're curious to learn more, connect with me here on LinkedIn. That's bold, but it opens with the kindness part, which is, I know, a big part of you. Did you guys all see the questions led to the arc? And how many of you, just out of curiosity, like how many of you are like, ooh, that sounds super braggy and ew, right? How many of you are like, Yvonne is clearly the bomb.com and I need to get to know her? Okay, so challenge, see, Yvonne, you've already got a little squad of awesome people who love you. So now the challenge for all of you is go find Yvonne on LinkedIn. Do not just hit the connect button, because that is for people who are not trying to teach people why they are uniquely awesome. Send her a note, like go to your PC or your computer, click on the add a note button and say, Yvonne, I am beyond impressed with how fantastic you were on today's show with Live with Joanna. Here's what I want to be known for, and then hit send. Much more powerful connection. We would never in the real world run up to somebody, shove a business card in their hand, and then run away again. Because that's what you're doing when you're just hitting the connect button with no note on LinkedIn. Every opportunity that you have to talk with people are these opportunities to teach them about who you are and how you think. Okay, let's flip this around. Nicole, I think you've got the basics there. Nicole, are you ready to do this with you as well? I'm going to see if I can do it again.
Sure.
Okay, so I know these are big questions. Nicole, what are you ambitious for?
On me.
Oops. Can you hear us? Oh, we've lost Nicole. Oh, she's back again. Well, we're going to have to hold on, Nicole. Leslie, I see you waving your hand. Are you up for a demonstration, or are you just waving because you were waving at the screen and saying, I can see you?
I was waving because I can see you, but
Oh, okay.
I'll go for a demonstration if you want to.
Well, hang on. If we
But
got
if
Nicole's
got it, she's first.
We've got Nicole back. We're going to go with Nicole because she's brave. Okay, Nicole. Well, actually, only because I don't know you as well as I know Yvonne. Just real quick, and not in the JoJo methodology of doing this, but like, what is your profession? What do you actually do? What would somebody call you if they put a label on you?
I am a litigation paralegal for King County.
Ooh. Okay. And what are you ambitious for?
Probably would be a good starting point to have figured out.
Do you want your boss as an example to do a better job of recognizing your potential? How about that?
Sure.
Okay. And so I think made it your boss, but I'm going to say colleagues at the King County. It's a good place to start.
Okay.
Even if they're not actually your people. And then, other than being a fantastic litigation paralegal, what is it you want to be? What is it you want to teach people about you that you think they don't know?
All that's coming into my head are the things I'm not supposed to say. Just about how I am curious and inquisitive, and my joy is to just dive into the cases and find answers to questions that haven't been asked yet.
Okay, I just want to pause here for a second. Did you all hear that? How beautiful was that last sentence? I want to say that answers to questions that haven't been asked yet. It's fantastic. And Nicole, just as an FYI, Sue Bonnell down the bottom just did this on her little screen. And I know that Sue is a super fancy mega lawyer lady person, among other fantastic things that she does, because she is a humanist, a performer, a potentialist at heart. And Sue, now knowing that you think that way is also thumbs up. I'm just saying that. This FYI, for those of you who have not been through the Joanna experiment, is often what happens. The language is in you. You just need somebody else to hear it. Answers to questions that haven't been answered. So why do you think what your joy is finding answers to questions that haven't been answered? Do you think the people at King County know that about you?
Few, not all. Not anybody beyond the people I work with every day.
Why do you find that joyous? Like, what is it about that just is fantastic?
I think it's exciting. I'm learning something about the content while I'm learning something about myself. Like the other day I found something. I didn't want to tell anyone how easy it was for me to find it. It was just so
you don't
easy.
need to.
Yeah. And now like this case is going in a whole different direction because I set it up to answer this question that hadn't been asked yet. And to me, that's exciting. That's like me getting to play a really big role in a case.
Oh, see, there you go. Your video could be, as a litigation paralegal, it's often the smallest question that can play a big role. And that starts with figuring out what are the answers to the questions that haven't been answered. And I am continually curious about those questions and do so as part of the team at King County as a litigation paralegal. How many of you would totally hire Nicole tomorrow based on that introduction? You see all the hands that go up? This is that balance between what we did was something simple enough so somebody goes, oh, that's super interesting. That's what they were all reacting to. And yet seductive enough that they were like, I want to reach out to Nicole. Now, the only thing I didn't put on there that I would put in the future is what call to action do you want to do on LinkedIn? But I think you can start saying that out loud in the halls of King County and start teaching them that the fuel for you is actually finding those answers so that you can, the small part pays the big part. It's really powerful stuff.
Hey,
Clearly,
Joanna.
fantastic. Yes.
Sue just put in chat a really beautiful sentence too. It's, I changed the course of cases by finding answers to questions that haven't been asked yet. Good stuff.
Beautiful. Sue, if you want a job, you can always come work here. She has all of the things. That's what she
No,
knows.
that's my dream. Don't taunt me, Joanna.
I got to figure out how to afford you. You're worth every darn penny. God. Sue Bonnell and Joanna Bloor in business. That would be a fairly horrifying and slightly delightful dynamo altogether. Fun stuff could happen. So super simple. And yes, do I do this really quickly? And obviously so does Sue. Totally. But I've been doing this for decades, which is why this thing is easy for me. So do not beat yourself up if you're like, oh, this is really hard. Do, however, go out and have conversations with people. It is much easier to do this with other people than it is to do alone. So here's my last tip of the day before we get into giving away good stuff and all of that sort of stuff is I have what I call my selfish squad. And these are 5 people who I am actively ambitious for, and they are actively ambitious for me. They are not my family. They're absolutely my friends because I know they would bury bodies for me if I needed it. But these people are not the same as me. They have different personalities. They have different skill sets, but they play a game, the game of life at the level that I do. So that I'm equally inspired by them as I can help inspire them. It is a beautiful combination. Find these people. Find the people that scare you just a tiny bit, but also you wish they played a bigger game. They are magic. These people are also the ones that can help you figure out how you can be the best future you. Find yourself a squad. I think it's a really helpful thing. And this can be another way that you can help you through videos. So before I give things away, who is going to commit to at least attempting to create their LinkedIn video to put on their profile? Yay! Very excited. Whether you do the learning guide or whether you help with us, when you do it, please shoot me a note because I want to be able to applaud and amplify and all of the things other people doing this as well, because I get how hard it is to put yourself out there. And, you know, I may come back with some thoughts because this is what I do, right? So thank you all for sticking around and sharing. Again, if you need help with this, please reach out, or if you have any other questions, you can always reach us at hello@the Amplify Lab. We also, for those of you that don't know, have a live show every Friday. We are constantly working. For those of you who didn't come last week, we had a special guest. I actually brought one of my selfish squad onto the show. She was fantastic and brought a very different perspective. I think I'm going to have to bring Sue onto the show as a special guest because she has magic skills as well, clearly. So we're bringing in new guests. We've got new content coming up. Poor Kelly is like, oh my God, we've got new things coming. So you can always go to joannabloor.eventbrite.com to find out about new shows, or if you can't find anything there, always find us at joannabloor.com with all of the latest updates. And if you're not on the newsletter, that goes out every Wednesday. We've got lots of stuff going on. Last but not least, if you want to rewatch this show or you want to find content from previous shows, we do have the YouTube channel up and live, and we put these shows up every week along with the tool guides and all of that good sort of stuff. So we'd love to see you there too. Click on the link to subscribe or hit the bell to notify, because then you'll find out when we're putting new shows up. Shenanigans continue. So I think I'm at the end of everything I was going to teach. So Kelly, I'm going to hand it over to you to who is going to be our 18-minute video winner person today.
Our 18-minute video winner is Asada.
Woohoo!
Woo, she's excited. All right.
Yay. Her lovely small person that we see in the background. So Asada, we are going to be reaching out to you in the next day or so with a little bit more information and instructions, because this one's a little bit more complicated than usual. And for those of you that are looking to come back, just remember we do these giveaways every week. So thank you all for coming. For those of you who are on the YouTube, thank you for watching.
Ultimately, we're here to help you figure out how to teach other people who the future you is so that you can be you in the future. Because the clearer you are about who you are, what you want, and teach other people why that's awesome, the more likely you get to be you. I know, it's a bit of a circle. I'm Joanna, your potentialist and fairy godmother, and I wish you the very best. Thanks for coming.